All right, ladies and gentlemen, another day in the stock market. Things went up, things went down. That being said, I'm going to talk about the most important stories from today. If you're excited, press the like button, but keep in mind this is not financial advice, it's entertainment. We're talking about the stock market over video game gameplay. Let's go. All right, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is from the automotive industry. GM has basically been the biggest overall car manufacturer and sales leader for a very long time, and this year they ended up getting dethroned. Toyota dethrones GM to become America's top-selling automaker in 2021. Honestly, I'm kind of just flabbergasted this hadn't happened any sooner. Don't get it wrong, I know Ford, GM are like American staples, they sell a lot of cars, but I feel like most people that just need car to do car things go with Toyota or a brand similar to that over GM or Ford. Kudos to Toyota, obviously, we knew they were one of the most popular car manufacturers. I just would have honestly thought that they were the top-selling car manufacturer long before this. I didn't realize that it had taken them until 2021 in order to pass GM. It also just goes to show the behemoth of GM, dude. They own so many car brands, Hopefully they're able to get back on the right track, because that's been a mismanagement train for quite some time. But overall, I just thought it was interesting that Toyota officially eclipsed GM. I thought they'd been biggest for a while, but hey, that's the way the ball bounces sometimes. Going from talking about a company having a good time in an industry to an industry that's giving every company a bad time, it looks like airlines are having even more trouble than they already were. Airlines cancel another 1,300 flights as Omicron severe weather continue to snarl travel. Honestly, this entire delays and everything going on in airports is some of the craziest stuff that I've seen in quite a long time when it comes to delays. Just over this Christmas break, I was actually trying to fly back home to get home and ended up getting stuck in Detroit overnight. And, I was fortunate enough to only be stuck for one day. I've been reading horror stories of people that have been stuck in airport for days and days on end, and that would seriously be unfortunate. Imagine how you would feel after not showering in days on top of having to stay in an airport. I understand it's mostly out of their control. The virus is going to do what the virus is going to do. It's causing worker shortages, and, severe weather is severe weather. But goodness gracious, if this isn't just an absolute headache for everybody involved. I'm sure the companies aren't hyped about having to deal with this mess, and the people that are stuck in airports are definitely not having themselves a great time. Overall, I hope they figure it out soon. I was reading an article a couple days ago about how United's going to start offering pilots even more money to get them to come back from vacation sooner to help deal with this. Hopefully other airlines follow suit, because if they continue canceling 1,000+ flights a day for an extended period of time, I'm going to assume the people starting to back up and clog the airports is going to start to become a problem. Next up, I wanted to talk about the fact that Apple crossed the $3 trillion valuation mark, and Warren Buffett is making some serious cheddar off of that. Warren Buffett makes over $120 billion on Apple's rise to $3 trillion, among his best bets ever. Now, personally, if I had to have a poster on my wall of any investor, I think I'd have Warren Buffett. I just really like the way he invests. He's pretty dang good at it. There's a reason he's as rich as he is. That being said, it is nuts to me how over his career he's picked so many absolute bangers. A multiple billion-dollar bet on Apple back in the day worked out pretty nice. On top of that, he owns a huge chunk of Coca-Cola and a bunch of other brands that he just got in before they really popped off. I just, think Warren Buffett's definitely the man. If you're looking for somebody to kind of learn the basics of investing from, he's got a lot of good talks and whatnot. But beyond just Warren Buffett, I gotta give a little bit of kudos, obviously, to Apple as well. This company is just insane. I do have some Apple stock. That being said, it seems like every time I'm whatever, it'll probably slow down, it just keeps churning out more gains. So Warren Buffett, who's owned it since probably the 80s at this point, dude, he's owned it forever. Definitely doing well in the grand scheme of things, considering it just went up another 30% last year. Next up, we're going to be moving on over to real estate. New York was one of the places that was the hardest hit during the COVID economic downturn, just because being quarantined in a city really sucks. The only benefits of the city come when there's stuff to do. That being said, it's probably rebounded at this point. The real estate has, at least. Manhattan real estate breaks record in 2021, reaching $30 billion in sales. Honestly, I know New York for a long time has been where like the most expensive real estate on the planet is, so I can't really say I'm surprised it's a huge number, but I am surprised that it ended up breaking a record in 2021 that quickly, just because it seemed like in 2020 cities in general had a really hard time retaining people. It seemed like there was a big flight to places with space, and some greenery. So I'm just shocked people have started conglomerating in New York again so quickly. I'm not saying it's not a great place, no disrespect. It's just shocking that like the record-breaking years came so quick after 2020 that was brutal on New York real estate. It also does make me wonder how much of this is based on inflation. This isn't financial advice. Obviously, I'm not an expert. I'm just saying if everything's across the board going brazy on inflation, real estate tends to follow suit. There's not many places that didn't have a record-breaking 2021 just due to the sheer amount of price hikes that have happened in real estate. So it does make me wonder how much of New York breaking its record has to do with the fact that real estate's inflation has just been going pretty crazy. It's been doing very well and growing in value very quickly. I am a little bit surprised to hear that it broke the overall record, though, that's for sure. Next up, I wanted to go back to cars. It looks like Ford is having a successful foray into the electrical vehicle market because the new F-150 Lightning seems to be pretty dang popular. Ford plans to nearly double production of its new all-electric F-150 Lightning pickup. Honestly, I was watching a thing on TV about this earlier, and from what I understand, Ford is pretty confident that if it wasn't for chip shortages, they could do even more than what they're currently planning to expand to. It's just they have supply constraints. I know electric vehicles are definitely increasing in popularity, especially with how, culturally important Tesla has become, but I think the first real powerful electric truck is obviously going to do pretty well. It's something people have been wanting for a while. And if the F-150, which is already a pretty popular brand, can bring a quality product, then I think it's going to be hard for any truck to really compete with it. And the fact that they're going to be increasing production also does indicate, to me at least, that there's got to be some substantial demand. I don't think Ford would just be willy-nilly making double the amount of trucks if they thought they were just going to be sitting there. Overall, it'll be interesting to see the prices on these things, though, just because of the chip shortages. Obviously, if you've pre-ordered one, it's a locked-in price, but once they start hitting the market, it'll be weird to see if they do better on a resale basis or not. Just because if there is a demand stronger than the supply, that tends to be what happens. It is what it is, and a lot of cars simply aren't being made because of all the chip shortages. And our last major story of the day involves Fanatics, the people that make all the jerseys for the major sports leagues, and Topps, the trading card company. Fanatics acquires Topps trading cards for $500 million. Fanatics overall as a company has been really doing a whole lot to get their foot in the door when it comes to like trading cards of some of the major sports leagues, and obviously buying Topps is quite a bit more of a foray into that. Topps is like the king daddy of trading cards from sports, at least baseball cards from the way I understand it, so this is obviously a pretty big acquisition for Fanatics. I think Topps does have the license to Major League Baseball, which out of all the sports cards definitely I think has the biggest cult following. So overall, I just thought that was interesting. Also goes to show you can make a crap ton of money in weird ways. Who'd have thought that you would ever be able to make $500 million off selling trading cards? Well, if you own Topps, then congratulations, good for you. Anyways, guys, I think that'll do it for all the major stories. I'm going to cover the indexes real quick, just let y'all know what has been going on in the market overall. So overall, the Dow Jones up about 0.5%, 200 points. S&P currently down 15 points, 0.33%. The NASDAQ actually down 2%, not doing too hot. And Russell 2K being down about 0.5%. So overall, a pretty mixed day. Indexes, a pretty good way to tell the overall health. NASDAQ not looking too hot. It hasn't for a while. Dow continuing its tear, but with how strong it looks like financials and energy is going to be, that's not too surprising. But overall, I guess you would classify today as just kind of sideways, nothing too great, nothing too bad, just pretty normal, all things considered, but hopefully you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. And of course, subscribe if you're new. Turn on notifications. If you really want to help me out, you can check out the intro song link down below, along with the link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. Or, of course, you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. Great way to get a discount on G Fuel. Help me out. Also, in the description, you can find a link to my merch store, so you should definitely check that out if you haven't already. Get yourself a t-shirt. I appreciate it. It's the coolest merch to ever exist. Not that I'm biased or anything. But yeah, other than that, like I said, if you enjoy stock market news, stock market stuff, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and on that note, hopefully I'll see you guys all next time. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace.